Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, everybody around the world. Welcome back to another One Piece video featuring Smoker. Coming at you guys with another spicy deck profile featuring another opponent here in today's video, which will be Green Purple Luffy in a locals match. I do hope you guys are going to be ready for this one. Hope you guys are going to enjoy this one, let alone Smoker. I'm having a lot of fun with this leader. And I'm finding it very difficult for me to settle on a deck list, in which at the end of the video we will talk about a little bit of things here I'm thinking about adjusting, changing, and playing around with. Because again, I've done many variations with this leader as of late, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. I still have trouble choosing which cards I want to play around with and which cards I want to keep. And with that being said, we'll talk about what I'm thinking about going forward with changing at the end of this matchup. Now, however, Green Purple Luffy, this is a very difficult matchup to go into as Smoker, or just any deck in general, if you guys don't have removal. And being a red deck, we only have access to Mulligan, at least in this, at least in Smoker, right? We also have access to Honesty Impact, which is very, very good. But again, if you guys don't see removal into the cards that actually matter, like the Sanji Pudding, you're going to be in for a rough time. So do be mindful of that. So starting off with an opener without having any form of removal here might be a bad idea. But having access to the Virgo, the Peacock, or the Perona to make sure you can search out for your Smoker or your Mihawks are going to be ideal into this matchup. You need to be able to establish bodies on board, big bodies, threats, i.e. Smoker, Mihawk, to be able to deal or combat with Luffy's board in some capacity. But either way, we're going to dive into this matchup today. Let's get into it. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. We're going to dive into another matchup today. Coming at you guys with Smoker playing into Green Purple Luffy here at Curio Caverns on my local scene. I'm pretty excited about this matchup due to the fact that I feel like this leader is very, very difficult for a lot of decks to deal with in the current format. Not only that, it's once they stack multiple Sanji Puddings on board, it kind of feels impossible to win this matchup in a lot of cases, especially if you don't have removal. With Smoker, we opted to mulligan our hands because we did not have any form of removal here. I need to find, obviously, Mulligan, or we need to see 5-cost Smoker, that way we can pressure life, which typically forces Luffy to give me cards. So I do think a lot of Luffy players don't mind taking early game hits because it allows them to activate Bagua to ramp. So, and unfortunately, even our mulligan hand was pretty bad. So we're going to go ahead and go first. We're going to drop down Kujaku and hope for the best. No Smoker here, unfortunately. We'll grab Virgo out of this pitch, which isn't necessarily too bad, and it's really the only thing that we can touch. The other downside to that is we've already seen Mihawk and Kid in that opener. So, there goes a Kid and Mihawk to the bottom of the deck. Which means we don't have a lot of pushing power here when it comes to going into the late game if we cannot draw into the Mihawks. There goes a Nami. Nami's first search. Hopefully we don't see stage here, because that'd be great. Now I do know with this matchup I have to be mindful of going and attacking Luffy. Occasionally it's okay to go 6 and keep swinging to face, but again, if you push Luffy to 2 life early and they have access to Bagua in hand with 2 Dawn up, you're just ramping them. They do end up getting the Sanji Pudding, which is good for me. Well, good for them, bad for me, because we don't have a Mulligan just yet. And I'm opting to change this build a little bit to go into a, Honesty Impact. Not too many of them, at least maybe 1 or 2 copies, consider we play a Navy searchers here. So Kujaku can search out for Honesty Impact, I feel like that'd be pretty good. What is this, man? Terrible. I guess we'll take the X-Drake. Just feels awful doing that. And there goes a Mulligan to the bottom, so there's that too. Now, mind you, my very first game we played against an NL and we ended up losing due to the fact that he did land on a 0 cost in life. We had a really good board. He didn't see any 10-drop aces, any Yamatos. We were geared to win the game, but coming down to the wire. And in that first game, I didn't even have time to sleeve up my deck, so we played with clear sleeves. You know what I mean? and I had no form of like shuffling opposed of getting to this local scene. So maybe that's probably why that my searches are awful. Not entirely sure. Although player error, of course. Either way, we're gonna take the first hit here. Plays down Zoro here. Goes for the search. Hopefully does not get a second one. I guess Luffy Taro would be problematic here as well. I'm hoping we get through. Is that 5, right? Yeah, 5 in hand. Okay, so he's 5. Sorry, searching through 5. That's a Sanji 2K, which isn't too bad. Pass his turn back over to me. Can I please? Nope. We do top deck Smoker, which is fine. We'll go 5 to face, because he doesn't have stage up, which makes him a 6K. I'm hoping he counters. Hoping. But I'm just trying to get cards out of hand here. Okay, so he gives me the Sanji that we knew he got off the search, which is fine. We'll spend 5, we'll play Smoker down. Smoker has 1 blocker on board to protect him. We stand 3. Now we have an option of either dropping the Sanji in our hand or doing another search here. Which I'm tempted to just play Sanji, but I think pressuring here to get another 2K out of hand is probably the better bet. So we're going to go ahead and try that. He's asking if there's any restriction to me just playing Smoker's ability, which there aren't, which is nice. I can just do it for free. Either way, we drop Virgo here. Double Mihawks and a Hody Jones. We can't get any of that, which is terrible. It happens, man, it happens. Shuffle better, boys and girls. Shuffle better. Alright. We're going to pop the Peacock. We're going to boost up the Virgo here, which makes it a 3. We'll attach 2 more to go to 5 to lead. That's really all we can play off of that, unfortunately. The good thing about swinging 5 into Luffy when he's not a 6K is the fact that he has to pitch 2K counters. Because more often than not, he's not going to give you, Sanji Pudding. He's not going to give you a Searcher. It's typically a 2K, which is really good because they don't play a lot of 2Ks in the deck. So you're getting a lot of counter out of hand, especially in the early game. Which is nice because we already put him down to, I think that's 6 cards in hand there. I think. Yeah, 6 cards in hand. So he has the first Sanji Pudding. We do have Smoker still on board here. He was not able to God Thread it, assuming he didn't have it. But we already knew he was going to play Sanji Pudding on curve, and then Smoker would have been fine this turn anyway. So we were able to get off at least 1 attack before he does remove it, if he has the choice of doing so. Opponent thinking what he wants to do here. Okay, going 7 lead. We'll take this hit. There's a Mulgun. And yeah, I just realized it just now. I should have popped it off of life. Like during this point in the game, I was like, oh, well, too late now, We should have popped it off life just to remove the Sanji Pudding on board. So, that was my bad. He's going to swing 7 to face. We'll give him a Sanji and the extract that he knows that we have. At least the 2K counter. He still has 6 cards in hand and 2 Dawn up. So, that's access to a Bagua, Giant, Demon Slash. He has a lot of events that you can play around with here. Go ahead and remove this, get this out of the board. And we're telling my opponent that we should have triggered this off life. I kind of just took the card a little bit quicker than I, think I should have there. Instead of triggering it, instead it went to my hand, so. I like to try to keep my mistakes. You know how your opponent does something, they ask you if they can take it back? I try not to do that, so when I make the misplay, I make the misplay. We're going to swing 2, just for no reason, That way we can have a rested character or card on board, be able to trigger Bonnie this turn. We'll spend 5 here. We'll play that on Jewelry Bonnie. We'll draw 2. Okay, so we have another Mole Pistol, which is good. I'm thinking between dropping the Bonnie and the Smoker here, Unfortunately, the Smoker doesn't have counter, and I think we need to have the blockers to survive later. And having more blockers on board to protect the Smoker is probably better for us right now. Knowing that we bottom decked Hody Jones, 2 Mihawks, a Eustace Kid, or sorry, 3 Mihawks, a Eustace Kid, and a Hody Jones. You know, it's just the odds of us getting back down to the bottom to get those cards are pretty slim. We're gonna go 6 here into Zoro. Which, if he wants to give me events here, I don't mind. I'd rather go for the Zoro here instead of him taking the hit. There's another Sanji 2k. So that's 3 2k counters we've gotten out of him. We're going to go 8k to face because he has no choice but to guard this or banish the top life. And typically, I don't think it's correct to swing 8 with a banish Smoker into the, the body on board. I'd rather go for life and just get the banish entirely. He gives me a Bagua, which is good. He cannot ramp because he's at 3 life instead of 2, which plays in our favor here. And now that Smoker is rested, he can't pop it with God Thread going into this turn, which is good for us. So now he goes back up to 6. Or 7, sorry. And we already know what's coming down here. There's a Luffy Taro. Removes the Dawn. Plays down Sanji Pudding. Draws the card. I'm assuming leader effect. Yep, there goes the leader effect. Restands 2. Gets 1 back from the Sanji Pudding. Okay. Opponent has 4 cards in hand. And I think he has to leave up a couple here just for the events in hand if he's playing with those currently. Or if he has those right now. I'm actually baiting my opponent. Like, I don't think he was going to swing with Nami. You know what I mean? Like, he has 3 Dawn up. I don't think he would attach those Dawn to swing with Nami and leave no Dawn up for the fences here. So, he's going 6 in. We'll give him the 2k. And if he wants to remove the Smoker, he has to attach heavily into Zoro to do so here. Because remember, Smoker is an 8. Okay. So he's going 8 to Smoker. I'll give him a 1, which makes us a 9. Because it's 8 into 8. And he passes turnover. So 4 in hand, 1 Dawn up. Which clearly is going to be a Gum Gum Giant, right? At this point in the game. Maybe. I'm trying to figure out if I should Virgo first or just drop the pistol. And obviously the pistol is just going to be the correct play here. We just need to get this off the board. So we'll pistol this again. Opponent not too happy with that one. That's fine. I'll restand 2 Dawn from our leader ability here. Four, 5, 6, 7. 7 Dawn there. So now we're at 9 Dawn, 2 rested currently. We'll spend for the Virgo. We'll trash that. I end up dropping Dawn on the floor here. Four, 5. Okay. So we either have to make the play, whether or not to take, I suppose, the Smoker here or the 2k counter, right? Because as useful as Kobe would be, we don't have the search here to grab the Kobe. We have Jewelry Bunny in hand. And then I realized we should be at 5 Dawn. Quick math, because we were at 9. We only spent the 2. Or sorry, we only spent the 4 for the Mulgun, right? And then we spent 1 for Virgo, so that's 5. And then we restood 2 with the Smoker effect, which should technically make us at 5 Dawn right now. That's math, because we didn't use the Smoker on field, just the leader. 4 for Mole, 1 for the Virgo, so that's 4. And then we have the restand 2 with the Smoker ability, which puts us up to 6 Dawn here. That's math. And we haven't done the Smoker on board just yet. So we'll grab this. We'll play the Jewelry Bonnie. We'll trash the Virgo. 8. Okay. Draws 2. We'll trash the Smo here. Which now our opponent knows we have the 2k counter than a mystery. We go 6 in the Zoro. Again, I don't want to go face here because this gives him an opportunity of just taking the hit or playing the Gum Gum Giant. I don't necessarily mind if he plays the Giant to protect the Zoro. I mean, that's a win-win for me. Then we'll go 8 to leader. Four in hand again. And we've already removed 2 Sanji Puddings this game, which is good. But we're kind of getting low ourselves on cards here. Because Luffy's able to kind of replenish hand with Sanji Pudding, he's able to replenish hand with Gum Gum Giant. Whereas we can't really necessarily do that all too much. We can if we have Kobe on board, but we didn't see a single Kobe with any of our Navy searches, which is unfortunate. So there's the effects. Sanji Pudding, leader, goes back to 5. So this is the 3rd Sanji Pudding he has seen without stage, which is still really, really good. Like, he got it on curve and he had Sanji Pudding 2 turns after that as well, so. What are we doing here? Oh, that's right. I'm telling my opponent that I would technically swing with Luffy Taro here into Smoker by attaching 2 Dawn, right? And he opts to just go 8 into 8, which to me, it's not really a big deal. We have to give him counter here or block anyway, but I'm telling him I think he should have attached the 2 to swing with the Luffy to force a block from hand. Or sorry, to force a blocker on board. At the very least, because he has 3 Dawn floating over there. Because otherwise, what does he play back down here for 5 Dawn? Unless he has another Sanji Pudding in hand, right? So what else does the opponent do here in this situation? Plays another Zoro, maybe? Leaves 1 Dawn open? Because Nami can't swing over it, right? And I don't see him attaching 5 Dawn to Nami anyway. He definitely needs to leave Dawn up to protect his characters on board, so. Also, Luffy leader has not swung yet either, so there's that. So potentially he still can go 8k with Luffy lead into Smoker. Alright, so he's going to go 7 into Smoker. And unfortunately, again, I told you guys I would try to take this more seriously, you know. My opponent goes 7 into 8, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. And then I'm letting him understand that Smoker is 8k, not 7. He just lets it go through, which is totally cool. You know, like, he made the mistake, it is what it is. This is why I didn't react or give him any counter here. He goes 7 into 8, which clearly I don't have to do anything about. So he wasted a Dawn there. Instead, like I said before, he could have attached that Dawn to Luffy Taro, swung for 9 into the 8, or attached at least 2 Dawn to swing 10 over the Smoker. Because at this point, he has 3 up, right? He still has Dawn to utilize events here, if he wants to. Oh, sorry, he has 4 Dawn. That makes it even worse, to be fair. What are we doing? Spends 3. This is a card we never see. this also surprised me here. This makes Nami pretty heavy, right? It gives her 6,000 power, which is cool. It gives a Straw Hat character 6,000 power. So he's gonna go 8 into 8 when it comes to Smoker. I'll guard out with Rosie, just so we can keep this on board. I think Rosie there was the correct play, but then again it could be bad in case he plays God Thread in the following turn to pop the Smoker. We have no way of protecting it. But we also have 2 extra attackers on board in which we could don up and swing if we need to go for game later. If we get to that point. Because again, we've already bottom decked quite a lot of our big bodies, so. Useless Kid, Mihawks, Hodys, we've seen them all. Which kind of sucks. And they were kind of just clumped in with each other, so there's that too. But we'll play 9 slash, sorry. We'll rest both of these. And we know our opponent doesn't really have any cards in hand here, which is nice. He's got 3 up, right? So I think it's better for us to try to clear board instead of going for face here. Because I don't think we could win game. I don't think we have lethal at this moment in time. But however, I do think we can clear board. We just have to math out correctly. So we're going to go 9k into Sanji Pudding, right? So it's 9 into 7. Which means he needs to give me 3k counter. Which is good. Opponent again, not very happy about that. This is 12 into Luffy Taro. So 5k counter out of this. So we get everything off board. And now we're looking pretty good. Now again, this could the favor of this matchup could change regardless, right? He hasn't seen stage, but again, he's seen 3 Sanji Puddings. And at this point, if he draws into a rush Luffy and is able to establish that with us having 1 card in hand, he potentially could just win game. But we do, however, have 2 blockers on board. So, and he did give us a 9 slash earlier. So unless he's running more than those, we might be okay. We have 1 card in hand. He spends 6, drops the Rush Luffy on board, which is nice. He's going to use a leader ability here. Yep. Gets 2 more Dawn to be active. Has 5 left. Luffy is now at 6k due to stage being on board. Or sorry, leader effect, my bad. And he does realize that Smoker is now an 8k. Keep that in mind. Always has been an 8k, you know, on my opponent's turn, but still. And then we're making sure 6-drop Luffy has rush, so again, opponent doesn't forget, or I don't forget, what have you. And how the effect works, once he attacks, you have to take a life if you are going to restand him. Which is, it's kind of like Hody Jones, except for he gets to attack twice, which is pretty good. Opponent's going 8k into Smoker on board. And we have to figure out whether or not to give him the 2k counter in hand that he knows that we have, or we give him the Jewelry Bonnie on board. Because regardless, if we give him the 2k here, he's probably going to attack twice with the Luffy to pop both Jewelry Bonnies anyway. So we'll go ahead and block here. I don't want to have like no cards in hand at this point, you know? At least he's trying to play around the 2k counter by going 8, so there's that. Tap stage, I don't know what the point of that was. So here you have to leave up the 1 Dawn, right? Or you just attach all Dawn and pop the Smoker with the Luffy by running into it. And then taking the life, restanding, and getting the Bonnie as well. Which technically clears the board here. Okay. Does the effect. To restand the Luffy. Make sure he takes the life. So he's going to go 8k into Smoker. And we'll give him the other blocker on board right now. Just for the time being. I don't know if this was the correct play at this point in time, considering we only had the 2k counter in hand. And I think I could have been wrong here. We probably should have just given the 2k and kept the body on board. I think that was the correct play. Ooh, we get the Hody. Okay. We're chilling, we're chilling, we're chilling. See, now drawing the Hody Jones, I think we should have given the 2k and then kept the body on board. This way we would have had 4 attacks this turn. Because instead we have to try to go for a game because we're not going to survive next turn, right? Which unfortunately means we have to play Hody here. Put 4 cards in hands. No Dawn active. Now is as good as time as any, to be fair. Seven. So what, we go to 6 Dawn after we play Hody? Which should be enough to go lethal, because that's 999. If the banish hit, connects, that should be game. Perhaps. So we'll play the Hody. We'll do the thing. We'll rest that just cuz. I'm not sure why my opponent did not attack with the Luffy again after he restood it into the Smoker to force out the 2k counter in hand. Perhaps he was worried about us attacking into the Luffy, you know what I mean? And maybe that was the correct play considering he's at 2 life. I'm not entirely sure. Remember, he's a 6k base, so we have to go at least 8 here. What, 6 Dawn? Yeah. We're gonna go 8 lead. Because this gives us the opportunity to go 9-9 after this. There goes the banish, which is a 9 slash. The only other option here is to what? Go heavily into Luffy to pop it, and then hope he doesn't have another one in hand. Which could be risky, because that's a little bit easier for him to guard out of, I think. Because Luffy's being a 7k, versus going for lead. But let's go 9 in the face. Takes the hit. We have no choice now. We'll go 9 lead. Opponent has 1k, it's 2k, 3k. Exactly 9. Well played. It was a spooky game. 2 giants in hand too. Wow. That is crazy actually. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the end of the video. I do hope you guys enjoyed it. We got to play a bunch of games here with Smoker. Coming up, tomorrow is Friday for us, so that means you guys will be getting a lot more content going forward to this weekend. And then on Sunday as well, you guys should be getting a lot more games of Smoker coming to the channel. And we do have a new video coming up when it comes to the sim. We will be playing around with Doflamingo. It's been quite a while since we got to sit down and play with Dofi, and we're talking about, the old birdcage Doflamingo. I know it's been a joy when it comes to on this channel, so I'm very much looking forward to this one and seeing what we can cook up and play around with. I already have a build that I'm very much interested in tinkering with, so we'll get into that as soon as I possibly can. You guys should be having that video either Sunday or Saturday, Sunday, or Monday. One of these 3 days, you guys will be getting this video up, as along with more Smoker content. Now, in any case, this build, I'm thinking about adjusting my ratios and my numbers here. I'm very much enjoying how it is, but I'm thinking about cutting out my Sanji and dropping this down to 1. specifically for Honesty Impact. Not necessarily running too many, but just two, just to replace the Sanjis here. I feel like this card is really good, but at the same time, I don't need to see this more than once a game, which, going into the later stages, I'm typically playing down things like the Smoker and the Law if we see this, or the Kobe. Getting one Sanji on board on curve is nice. If not, Honesty Impact. If not, I'm thinking about also going up Rosie. Just maxing out Rosinante here in this deck list and going from there. Just because Rosinante can be played out with Eustace Kid, and then you have access to the Sanji here as well, and the Tashiki. This doesn't just protect the Eustace Kid, but also protects my Smoker on board in the early game. The other option again is going to be Honesty Impact, just because we are playing around with the Kujaku or the Peacock for the Navy searches. And into the late game, Honesty Impact also has a play, especially in those Leafy matchups where you don't see the Mulgun, and you're not able to draw into it, but you are able to see the Honesty Impact off the search here. But that's just my 2 cents. I'm still tinkering around with different ratios and build variations when it comes to Smoker. Considering my last Smoker build that I put out, I have so many different Smoker variations I've been playing around with, so who's to say, right? Who's to say what's best currently right now in today's format? Either way, this has been Pawseplays. I do hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I will catch you guys in the very next one. Stay safe out there. I'll see y'all later.